In a small American town, a young girl named Emma lived alone after the death of her wealthy parents. Despite their riches, they left her no will, and her aunts and uncles swiftly deprived her of all her parents' possessions. All they left her was an old house. On her own, Emma did odd jobs to finance her studies. She had no one to help her and faced her destiny alone. One day, her aunts and uncles returned to her house and demanded she marry a man of their choice if she wanted to keep the house. "If you don't marry the man we chose, you'll lose this house too," her uncle said sternly. Emma, with nowhere else to turn, reluctantly agreed. She was given in marriage to Jason, a charming and very wealthy young man. Through him, her aunts and uncles hoped to benefit from his wealth. After the wedding, Jason took Emma to the city. Preoccupied with making money, Jason wasn't too talkative. Emma tried to start a conversation. "Can you tell me more about yourself?" she asked. "I'm very rich and all I'm concerned about right now is making enough money," Jason replied curtly. "As you know, I'm very rich." Emma laughed calmly and replied, "Yes, of course I know. I also know your likes and dislikes." Jason replied, "What I like is money, and what I don't like is being penniless." Surprised by his answer, Emma asked, "Are there things you hate? Routines that are part of your daily life?" Jason shot back, "Are you doing an inspection or are you a private detective now?" Emma replied, "I just wanted to know a little more about you given our marital situation. We're going to be living together, so it's only natural that I should want to get to know you better." Jason scoffed. "Your aunts and uncles told me you weren't educated, but I can already see the opposite." Realizing the conversation was going nowhere, Emma decided to postpone it for another time. "We'll talk later," she said. "I wish you a good night." Jason wished her good night too and insisted she move her belongings to their shared bedroom. The next morning, Emma noticed Jason had already left for work. She set about the housework, cleaned up, and cooked for herself and Jason. When he returned, she asked him to take a shower and join her for dinner. "I'm not hungry. I already ate in town before coming home." "You can eat without me," Jason replied coldly. "But I made the food for both of us," Emma said sadly. "Listen, don't get on my nerves. Don't think you're already my wife. I'm just married to you so I can send you photos when I need them," Jason snapped. Dazed, Emma repeated, "You're married to me for photos?" "Yes," he replied. "It's just for my parents who keep asking if I'm not married. At least now I can send them pictures so they'll leave me alone." Emma asked if she could go back to her hometown since he already had her photos. "No," he replied. "My parents are unpredictable. They can ask me at any time. I can't take that risk." "I can't live like this," Emma protested. "If I'm married to you, then I have expectations too. If you can't fulfill them, then just let me go back." "Impossible," Jason cried. "I didn't spend so much money to let you go like that. Do you know how much I paid your aunts and uncles to have you?" Emma asked, "Did you marry me or buy me?" "Well, both," said Jason. "If you can't let me go back, could you help me set up a business? That way I won't be bored at home and at least I'll have something to do during the day when you're away." "No, I don't have a TV at home for nothing," he replied. "You don't have to work. This house has everything you need, and if you get bored, there's a TV too." Emma now knew what to expect. She was just being used to fool Jason's parents. One night, Jason's mother called as usual, this time addressing her daughter-in-law. "When are you going to give me grandchildren?" she asked. "Soon," replied Emma. After the call, Jason asked, "Why did you say you were going to give her grandchildren? You should have said no." "But I did it to help you," Emma replied. "I just made sure your parents didn't suspect anything." "Well, you shouldn't have said that," he retorted. "I don't feel the need to get married yet, let alone have children. When I'm ready, I'll marry a woman who's really right for me, and with her, I'll have my children." "What about me? I'm a woman too and I have expectations," Emma protested. "You're not of my social standing. What's more, you've got dirty hair and old people's clothes," Jason replied. "If my hair and clothes bother you, then I'll find a job myself so I can get some money and change these old things as you say." Emma said defiantly. Jason then gave her money to change her clothes and redo her hair. After the conversation, she moved her belongings downstairs. The next day, Emma found a job in an electronics store, where she would be in charge of sales. That evening, Jason came home hungry and discovered the food Emma had prepared. He helped himself and couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, this meal is so delicious. I had no idea she could cook so well." When he realized Emma hadn't taken the money he'd given her, he asked, "Why didn't you take the money I gave you this morning?" "I don't need it," she replied. "If you don't think of me as your wife, then I don't need to look good for you. I don't consider you my husband either, so you can keep your money. I'm not giving you money for fun. You have to be clean in the photos so that my parents don't suspect anything. They've already made enough remarks about your clothes, so you need to change them," Jason insisted. "In that case, I'll lend you the money to change your look and hairstyle, but I'll pay you back later," Emma replied. The next day, Emma followed Jason's instructions, bought new clothes, and changed her hair. When Jason returned home, he was struck by her transformation. "Wow, you look beautiful tonight and you've got a wonderful figure," he admired. "I'm watching a film. If you don't want to go inside, then tell me to close the door," Emma replied. Jason entered but kept staring at her, asking her to serve him some food. Despite her protests, Emma cooked for him. As he ate, he was captivated by her beauty. "Why do you care about me now?" Emma asked. "Aren't we just married for the pictures?" Jason replied, "Look, I'm the one who decides. From now on, you'll sleep in our room, not yours." Against Emma's wishes, Jason took her belongings back to their shared room. They slept arm in arm like true lovers. The next day, Jason was distracted at work, and his thoughts returned to Emma. That evening, Jason followed Emma and discovered she was working at a store. Relieved, he decided not to confront her. When Emma returned home, Jason asked where she'd been. "I went to get something to eat," she replied, trembling. "Not only are you a liar, you're also a prostitute," Jason accused. "Yes, I'm a prostitute now. Why do you care? Aren't we just married for the pictures? I'm free to do what I want and manage my life as I see fit," Emma retorted. "It's not just your body anymore. It's mine too. I paid good money for your dowry. You're mine," Jason insisted. Emma countered, "If you can't let me go back to the village, could you help me set up a business? That way I won't be bored at home." "No, you don't have to work. This house has everything you need," Jason replied. Emma continued working in secret. One day, Jason followed her and discovered her job. Relieved that she wasn't cheating, he confronted her. "I know you won't be happy to know where I've been, but please don't think I'm a prostitute. I got a job as a store assistant," Emma explained. Jason admitted, "At first, I married you just to fool my parents, but now I've changed my mind. You mean a lot more to me because I've fallen in love with you. If your desire is to work, then I won't stop you, but this time you'll work with me in my office." Emma was surprised and said, "I don't know what to tell you. I'm amazed at what you're saying." Jason replied, "Refresh yourself and get ready. We're going out." Emma, feeling tired, declined, but Jason insisted they go shopping the next day. He became attentive and caring, and their relationship grew stronger. At the mall, Jason knelt down and asked, "Do you want to be my wife?" Emma laughed. "No, we're already married." Jason clarified, "Will you be my love? Will you love and cherish me as your husband?" Emma kissed him and replied, "I've had a wonderful evening, but I'm tired of laughing so much. Let's go home." On the way home, Jason said, "You almost made a fool of me today at the mall." Emma laughed and asked, "What would you like to eat tonight?" Jason replied, "I still haven't digested the ice cream I had tonight at the mall, so I don't want to eat anything." They headed home and Emma followed him. "Good night. I'm going to sleep in my room tonight," Jason said. "Good night. Don't talk to me tomorrow either," Emma replied playfully. Jason, realizing his feelings, took Emma in his arms and they kissed. They spent the night together as true lovers. The next day, Jason took Emma to his company and introduced her to the staff. They worked together and their bond grew stronger. Jason's mother called, asking when they would have grandchildren. Emma replied, "Soon." Jason asked, "Why did you tell Mom you'd give her a grandson or granddaughter in a year?" Emma replied, "I just said what was true. Have you ever touched me before? Or were you waiting for me to make the first move?" Jason admitted, "You could have told me if you wanted to. I didn't want to move too fast with you." Emma asked, "Will you ever be a little romantic?" Jason replied, "Well, you want me to be an entrepreneur, so I will. You'll be the first to ask me to stop." That night, they shared their first intimate night together. They worked hard to take their businesses to the next level and built several successful ventures. Months later, Emma found out she was pregnant. It was wonderful news, and Jason's parents were overjoyed. They visited Emma and Jason, delighted to meet their grandson. Emma's aunts and uncles had hoped to ruin her by forcing her to marry a man she didn't know, but it worked in her favor. Jason and his family lived happily ever after, proving that love can conquer all obstacles.